welcome to Tim and Joel. Call it in the ring. It's Thursday night, and it has been very busy. So we started things a little bit late. 1 whole minute. Feels good. Feel like there's a lot to talk about today. Do you feel like there's a lot to talk about today?
I feel like there's a little bit to talk about today, but not too much. How are you?
The Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble happened. It was as I said it was going to be a gold.
You said it was going to be gold?
Something like that, yeah. I
don't
right
remember
too.
this.
It was great. What do you want about
it? It was actually, yes, it was a very, very good time. I want to thank our friends at Fightful once again for inviting me on to join the watch along over on Scraps. And I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us and doing the things that we do every week. It's been a discombobulated kind of day. I don't know about you, Tim, but after a week where the news was kind of light and breezy and fun and easy, the world explodes.
Boom!
All over the place. Can't explain it. Can't tell you why. All of a sudden, we have people released. We have numbers coming out of the everywhere. And we got WrestleMania talk and Royal Rumble talk. And Kenta showed up. And now there's a forbidden door that's open. And now everyone wants to talk about going to Japan and then going to WrestleMania. And everyone wants to talk about going to the moon because Cameron Grimes comes back next week in NXT. And oh my God!
Everybody talking about Cameron Grimes.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh.
Apparently there was an Alexa Bliss tweet. I don't know anything about that.
Oh no.
So
I hope
there's even
it's not
more
another...
no's we don't know.
I'm going to assume that it was someone trying to stalk her, be weird again, because that seems to be the going rate with Alexa Bliss.
Oh, that's so sad.
All right. Should we get into it? Should we really get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right. Well, I have it written down just as a free-for-all at this point, because about, let's say 5 minutes before you and I started chatting on Skype, pre-show, kayfabe, I know, Steve Cutler was released from WWE.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting
a choice.
Granted, he'd been off TV. Him and his tag team partner Wesley Blake had been off TV for the last about 3 weeks, so nobody really knew what was going on. But
they gave him a
it seems like
they had the Knights of the Lone Wolf, you know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go right to it. Fightful Select just literally dropped this as we were going on the air, as I was trying to collect all the rest of my notes to do this. There's a lot here, but I'm just gonna try and condense it as best as I can. So it was a 7-year run, by the way, for Steve Cutler. There was heat on Cutler specifically from Vince McMahon when Cutler was sidelined from WWE TV after contracting COVID-19 in early January. We're told that the Knights of the Round Table, that's the tag team that they're in with Baron Corbin, of course, on SmackDown, they were active in trying to return to television, which never ended up happening after they disappeared from WWE TV. However, those we've heard from seem to believe that the release stems from the situation involving Cutler getting COVID back in January. That's a thing. We're told that this move came on WWE's behalf and that Cutler was actually in attendance for the WWE Performance Center, he was at the Performance Center and he offered to bump for the big man class that's been taking place there. For those who are unaware, the big man class is, of course, as it is, the guys who are larger in stature are often needing some people to work with. And so Steve Cutler was one of those guys who said, hey, you can bump on me and my bump card's ready for you. So he was doing that. And one source that Fightful Select spoke to at the PC said that a welcome familiar face at the facility, and he was very well liked there. Wow. So he was really well liked, first of all.
Okay, cool. So few things. Wrong guy. Second thing, a lot of people getting COVID. Seems weird to single out one guy. You're in Florida. They don't really care. They're just letting whatever happen. So that's weird, but I guess, Vince McMahon's whims, no surprise. Next thing, sucks that your career got destroyed by a guy being a scumbag who isn't yourself.
It's true. And again, Cutler and Blake were very well liked. Their tag team third man, who is now with who's now with Elias, his name is Jackson Riker. He's the piece of garbage. Like, yeah. What would you do this? And no, for those asking in the chat, it was not a cost-cutting thing. It's just a situation where Vince McMahon said, "I'm done with this guy," and that was it.
All right. Well, anyway, I hope he lands on his feet. There's a few places he can go nowadays, so thankful for that.
He's got 3 months until he can go anywhere, but for now, you know what? If he wants to stay at home, and I think he's a father, I hope he has some time to relax right now and kind of 90 days to chill out, become a Twitch streamer, do the whole
That's
thing.
that's also such a weird thing in their contracts. Like I get it. It's not a weird thing in like the grand scheme of things, but like, do they pay them for those 3 months to sit at home and do nothing?
They do. Yeah, that's part of the deal.
Cool. Whatever. Good. I hope he enjoys it.
And I agree. Best
envious,
of wishes. Best wishes to him, because he should be doing more when he gets the chance. And I'm sure he will shine wherever he goes next. If he wants to take on the indies, amazing. If he wants to go to Impact or AEW or wherever, fine. If he gets a job and he gets to work and hone his craft and do best, I'm all for it. And speaking of which, I'll say it here. Lars Sullivan, he was released on Tuesday via PW Insider. We found out he hadn't been on TV in a long time, but at the same time, he's another guy who, I think this is the most shocking thing, and someone had pointed this out to me on Twitter, that like the most shocking news of the week is that Lars Sullivan basically turned face overnight when he got his release.
The last thing they had him say was kind of sort of admit to burning down a school. Like,
yes.
I kind of don't care. I didn't really like him anyway. I'm fine. Again,
I'll go back to Fightful Select. He said he told them he was battling crippling anxiety issues to the point where he was struggling to eat during days of TV filming, and he was also having trouble sleeping. Lars Sullivan himself was surprised that WWE didn't announce the release themselves. He chalked it up to them being nice about this whole situation, and he was also very complimentary of how they handled his departure, saying that they handled it with compassion and honesty. Sullivan also called himself, quote, his own worst enemy, considered his actions to be idiotic and to be of his own selfish behavior. And he also wanted to make it very clear that he was treated well by the WWE offices, and it wasn't a case where he was let go for bullying or anything like that.
Cool. So just a bad fit. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. And then that's the thing. Not everyone is going to go, do amazing things when they're wrestling in one place.
Yeah. I didn't feel like he fit. I didn't, wasn't burning to see more of him. So I wish him well in the rest of his life, as long as he can stay a good person. So
yeah, hope he enjoys whatever he does next. I hope he excels at it. Well, speaking of excellence and things that we do, I didn't really. I thought I was going to have a good transition there. I didn't do it.
No, it's okay. You tried, and that's all that matters, buddy.
That's right. I didn't do the plugs though. You can go and leave us some tip jar love over at streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod. You can find us all weekend over at PW Unlimited. Really, it's Sunday afternoons, let's face it.
Not at all weekend.
That's right. We talk about the week in wrestling. We go ahead and we tell you what's coming up and on down the pipeline. We will preview and give our predictions for any pay-per-views, which I'm excited about, because in the next few weeks, we're going to have TakeOver Vengeance Day. We're going to have the Elimination Chamber, and we're going to have a whole whack of pay-per-views that come up. Oh, we have Revolution. AEW Revolution is going to be the week after that. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. And you can like this video. You can subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/TimandJoelPod. Really everywhere is just Tim and Joel Pod. If you think it exists, it's probably under Tim and Joel Pod.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
Wonderful. Okay. Let's talk numbers. You want to talk numbers?
Yeah.
You want to talk numbers, or do you want to talk about, we can do numbers, or we can do Forbidden Doors?
Okay. Let's do Forbidden Door, because I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. I don't know if you're familiar with okay. So with AEW, when they opened up, the biggest question on everyone's mind is how quickly will they start working with New Japan Pro Wrestling, because Kenny Omega is coming from New Japan, the Young Bucks were coming from New Japan, basically all the EVPs, Cody kind of included, were all coming over from New Japan, to which point it was agreed that the doors closed on any workings together. The Forbidden Door, as it was called. Okay, are you following me thus far, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, that's a yes. So this past Wednesday on Dynamite, a wild Kenta appeared, and suddenly the Forbidden Door is considered open in some way, shape, or form. Originally, when the Good Brothers showed up on Impact and Tony Khan started doing stuff, when the Good Brothers from Impact showed up on AEW and Tony Khan started doing these paid advertisements, and Don Callis was telling people to tune into Impact Wrestling to see what was going on with the title, that became a big question. What will AEW do, and who will they partner with? The answer is anybody, because now this Forbidden Door, as it is open. And also, On New Japan Strong, which is the US television show that's taped and aired in America on Fight TV, Mox showed up last weekend and he got face to face with Kenta. Now, I don't know if you know this, Tim, but Kenta is currently first in line for an IWGP US Heavyweight Championship spot. You know this?
Yeah, you've mentioned it a few times, and they reiterate. I think they reiterated it when Kenta showed up on AEW. So
yes, that's right. One or two times they may have told you why you should care that Kenta is here.
Yeah, which is good. Yep. Good work by them. Very thoughtful.
So they took it a little bit further. Yes, because next week on Dynamite, we are going to see the team of Kenta and Kenny Omega taking on Jon Moxley and Lance Archer in an anything goes, falls count anywhere, lights out match, which really just means it's unsanctioned.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I didn't hear about that.
It's wild for two reasons. One, no one ever saw it coming.
No.
And two, in the graphic, they have Mox holding his IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. They're acknowledging the fact that he has that championship. They're also acknowledging the fact that Moxley is going to defend that IWGP US Heavyweight Championship on New Japan Strong against Kenta at the end of February. I believe it's February 22nd or 26th. I've heard both numbers being tossed my way.
So much wrestling. Okay, cool. That's
really
cool.
So there was a little gimmick that was tossed up on AEW socials after this all happened, where Kenny White runs up to Kenta and he says, "I didn't know Brother Switchblade was sending a gift over." And he's talking about Jay White, of course. Yeah. To which Kenta just says, "Shut the F up." Like, just full on. He says, "I didn't come here for you. I came here for Mox." And I was just laughing because the delivery from Kenta is fantastic.
Awesome.
Really good. So Dave Meltzer from Figure 4 and Wrestling Observer and all that stuff, he confirmed that both sides, they're working together.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
It has to happen because of pandemic, they have to work together. There's only so much talent that's available and ready to work. And at this point, there's no reason not to have some sort of cross-contamination. While you can't have the Japanese talent coming into the US or vice versa as easily, you can at least start to muddy the waters with any New Japan talent who live in the States, such as Kenta, who still lives in Florida.
Yeah, it's good. It's like, that they get to draw on all of this other stuff. Gives them a bit of a bump, which is helpful, I think. So it's really exciting. I mean, I would have been a little bit more excited if Kenta hit that go to sleep a little better. I don't know who's to blame for mucking that up, but that was like weak. And like I don't watch New Japan, so I don't really know him. I'm sure he's very good, but that was kind of a soft introduction. I'm excited for next week.
And I see people talking about, this is a great opportunity for everyone to work together. It's cross-pollination, cross-contamination, whatever you want to call it, of all of these wrestling companies working together. I see it. I agree with you. There's one thing you have to remember. Back in the day, when promotions tried to do this, the question was always either what's in it for me or how do you make my champion not look like an idiot?
Yeah.
When you start having champion versus championship matches, people start taking their promotion and their wrestlers and their product a lot more seriously because it's business at that point. And if your champion isn't being put over strong, then what's in it for them?
Yeah, because I would argue that what they did with Rich Swann, I don't really care about the Impact World Championship right now. Hope Moose gets it.
See, I'm a fan of that whole storyline. I'm going to enjoy Moose versus Rich Swann when we get there. Totally. Don't know when we'll get there though.
No, I know. We got to watch Tommy Dreamer wrestle for it for some reason.
Well, until we get to Impact talk, how about we talk about the impact of numbers?
Okay, let's talk about the money.
So much money. I sat through that.
Money. Dollar.
Oh, thank you.
Dollar.
All right, WWE released its fiscal year 2020 and Q4 numbers today. As usual, I'm not going to go full on into that because there is a person who will do that so much better than me. His name is Brandon Thurston, and you can find him at WrestleNomics. please go and subscribe to their podcast, subscribe to their Patreon if you're really into the business of numbers and how it means in the grand scheme of wrestling. Let's just get into the basics. The stuff that I really want to dig into with Tim is social engagement, first of all, is up 10%. And that's going to play into a larger conversation we're going to have about TV ratings, because people love to talk about them eyes and those lineal eyes, those linear eyes, as WWE President Nick Khan had to say earlier. All right, moving on. The company annual revenue was just shy of $1 billion, Tim.
They're so big. They're so big.
$997 million in annual revenue, compared to last year's $960 million.
Good for them.
A few more numbers for you. 20 million people watched the Superstar Spectacle, which you and I touched on. That was the Indian special.
Yeah, no surprise. Not surprised at all. Like,
billion people in that country. It's not surprising that 20 million of them, a fraction, were going to go and watch that show. A very, very good show. It was easy to watch too. Why not?
I didn't watch it. Too much to watch.
We're going to talk more about Bad Bunny later, but I'll tell you this much. If you saw the Bad Bunny collaborative shirt that they did with the Royal Rumble comic stuff, so they did a Bad Bunny x WWE merch drop. And that had the highest selling collaboration numbers they've ever had within the first 24 hours of launch. Am I shocked? Not at all.
No, like this is a good get for them.
And did you know that sales for championship belts increased by 100% in 2020?
Those things are so expensive. I'm a guess for people to show off in the Thunderdome. Is that why?
I think it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of people are drawn to those nice things that they can put on display in their Zoom backgrounds. As I've mentioned, Wrestle Rumble, I'd like to win one so that I can put one behind me on these white walls that I'm not putting anything else on.
Yeah, you give me one for free, I'll take it. But
yeah,
there ain't no world where I'm going to pay for that.
I'll win one for $1, but I'm not going to win one, or I'm not going to pay a full price for that. So no. And then finally, I will mention that you saw this during the Rumble when Rey Mysterio came out. He had Victoria beer on his mask.
Oh, is that
and they talked about
the
the sponsorship.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
WWE
beer. Struck up a beer sponsorship with Victoria, which is a huge deal for their Latin market, but it's also a very big deal in a PG WWE, because we haven't seen a beer sponsor for WWE in a very, very long time. It hasn't been anything worthwhile to talk about, because really they've just never gone after those since the Attitude Era. They haven't gone after Durex condoms, or it used to be like the Wild West. They would take whatever they could get and be like 1-800-COLLECT or like I said, Durex condoms, or it would be the blimp with the stupid games on them. Now they're bringing back beer sponsorships. It's big.
Yeah, I feel like they're comfortable like dipping into like more adult subject matter right now. Like, but they won't, they're not going to go back anywhere near like what it was in the Attitude Era, nor really should they. But like they do seem more confident to dabble in that stuff, right? Like it's gotten a little bit edgier than it has been in the last like decade. So
yes, and it's something that they've been trying to kind of put a little bit more emphasis on. You can stretch the limits of what PG means depending on who your standards and practices people are.
Yeah, and I think they had like 1 or 2 episodes of SmackDown like PG-13 recently, right? So
yeah. Now here's the thing. I want to talk about the no lost eyeballs comment that Nick Khan made, and we'll talk a little bit about social engagement and TV ratings. You and I have touched on this before. Ratings.
Yeah.
Do they really matter?
No.
Thank you.
No, they just don't. Television? No. No. And the thing that almost everyone should be scrambling to do is to figure out how to digitize their delivery system. Like when I say digit, everything's already digitally transmitted, but I mean like they need to figure out how to get everything served onto the internet. It's going to be you purchase the networks that you want and you get their streaming packages. You'll have a few different streaming companies and you'll pick and choose or buy them all or just buy one or cycle through. Like you'll watch the content you want from one, cancel that subscription, move to another. That's the future, like no doubt. And like I think that the companies who are using ad-based models are doing the right, like, obviously just offer it for free and provide ads. Like, that's what our national broadcaster does for CBC Gem, and they offered a paid version as well. That way you have two revenue streams that'll satisfy anyone. Same thing YouTube does. Same thing Peacock's doing. Like, that's what the model's going to be. So, like, looking at ratings, screw that. Like, it wasn't even good. That wasn't even a good way of measuring anything. It was based on, like, sampling, right? Whereas this, you get direct, accurate numbers. You count every single, like, machine connected to that stream. This is way better. And, like, you know, again, we're going to go back to it, and I'm sure they mentioned on the call, it's engagement is about the social media impact that you can have. And they see massive numbers all the time. So
Yeah, they do. And when you and I are talking about our show and what's best to talk about, we look at those numbers. We look at the let me put it like this. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit for us. When I make those thumbnails for YouTube, yes, that's me making them.
yeah, me.
I'm going through and I am trying to find what was the most talked about stuff from the night before or of the week. When we talked about Goldberg because Goldberg was on everyone's mouth that week.
Trust me, it ain't because I love talking about Goldberg.
That's right. Same thing with Kenta. It's like, this is something that listen, it was between that or we were going to talk about Edge winning the Royal Rumble. But at this point, everyone had talked about Edge winning the Royal Rumble to death, and we still have it on a rundown because it's still important. So my point is, your Nielsen box that you don't have doesn't matter to WWE. If you're a Nielsen family, those people are doing everything they can to get you to pay attention to them. But that's not what you need to be worried about. You need to be looking at the numbers on YouTube. You need to be looking at the numbers on all the socials that get you an idea of who's important. Because when Alexa Bliss is 1 million viewers deep after a night on Raw, that's the conversation.
Yeah. And, like, look, there are a lot of people who are left out of the high-speed internet conversation, but that will dwindle, like, as Starlink comes up.
I'm glad you said that.
Everyone's going to be able to access this media at a much higher rate. And again, like, I know this is a source of great frustration for the people who live in rural environments, but, like, the amount of people who live in rural environments is just getting smaller and smaller, like, every year. Like, it's just the reality. Like, you know, each person counts as one. And there are a lot of ones clustered in single places with high-speed internet access, and the ones who aren't will have high-speed internet access pretty soon. So talking about Nielsen stuff is irrelevant.
I'll end it with this, and this was my nice little anecdote from a couple of weeks ago. I went into the WWE Thunderdome because I have the access, and I went in at the beginning of the night. And the producer who usually tells you, like, yeah, put your thumbs up or boo, whatever it is, he said, if you're a Nielsen family and you're in the Thunderdome, make sure you still turn on SmackDown. And I'm sitting there just like, well, that's ballsy, friend. That's a great ballsy thing to do.
The art of asking, you know, you gotta ask. Like,
exactly. And I'm just like, well, that doesn't really affect me at all, so let's get the show started.
Speaking of asking, you can support us at streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod. Leave us a little tippy whip.
Oh my God, he did the thing.
I'm learning.
All right, let's also just get into this real quick. Just to wrap up the financials, by the way, there is no expected effect on NBC Sportsnet closing out in terms of how it will affect NXT or Raw in its current iteration. So there was a lot of people talking about whether or not NBCSN closing and moving over to USA is going to affect programming, say hockey or NASCAR or any of those things. We were told today in the conference call that no, nothing's going to change. And honestly, from a business standpoint, there's no need to move NXT. I know a lot of fans are like, move NXT. It shouldn't be on Wednesdays. Look at what the numbers are like. We just talked about the numbers, so I just rewind like 5 minutes and you'll know why this doesn't matter. From a business standpoint, it makes no sense, okay? The whole idea here in business is not to let your competition breathe, Tim. You know this.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like, you gotta apply the pressure. And again, like, that's only one part of the audience. Part of the audience will allow you to dictate when you watch it. But the way that the world is now, if I had to watch wrestling when wrestling was on, I just wouldn't watch wrestling. Like, I watch the big events live, but like I'll watch stuff on my own time. I watch it while I'm, like in the background while I'm working, while I'm eating. Like, it's just not how I've lived my life for so long at this point that I can't. I get weirded out when I have to watch TV and I have to like be somewhere at a specific time. It just hasn't been the way that I've lived my life since I was like 15. So
this is where wrestling gets into a really weird place. It is not sport. It is not TV, like written, scripted comedy, drama, whatever. It's not scripted TV. It's live. It's talked about. And wrestling gets into this weird place where everyone is kind of like, I don't know if I need to watch this live because it's sport, or I don't know if I can wait till later because it's scripted and it's linear and every week it's going to be, everything's going to play in together. And I think that's where wrestling gets really confused, because as long as sports are on TV, like the NHL and the MLB and all that stuff, hockey, football, baseball, whatever, as long as that's on TV, that still takes precedence for live watching, appointment watching. Wrestling doesn't really, it straddles that line.
It sure
is
does.
What I'm getting at.
Like, yeah, because like there's stuff that like you want to be there for, like, I had to not look at social because I knew something happened at the end of AEW, but I didn't know what, so I just kind of had to. I was like, all right, something of interest, like spoilery wise, happened, and I'd like to enjoy the little bit of excitement there, so I steered clear of it. But it's not necessarily a guarantee for every single person out there watching it.
Right. And I'm a crazy person, so I watch both shows at the same time via nefarious means on the internet, because that's just who I am. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble.
Those numbers are getting counted. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble.
So yeah, we're cord cutters. We ain't getting counted. My sub count for WWE Network, that's barely getting counted.
Yeah.
And now I got to figure out what to do next, because I'm one of those VPN bastards.
Oh, well, I guess
I'll never get a job at WWE at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Your 2021 Royal Rumble winners are Edge and Bianca Belair. Are you excited? Are you happy? Is it what you expected, Tim?
Not at all what I expected, which makes me very happy. So I'm happy about that. I had mentioned Bianca as a possibility. I'm very glad that that's the direction they went, and they did it so well. The Women's Royal Rumble was phenomenal. Like, the whole match was really, really great. Love seeing Victoria. I was excited.
So you want some insider news, my friend?
Yes. Hit me.
Well, the Women's Royal Rumble match, according to Fightful Select, had plenty of surprises. Mm-hmm. And they announced that only 16 entrants were in the match ahead of time. So WWE went above and beyond to have additional names on hand to the event, and just in case some names couldn't make it. One of those names that we knew couldn't make it was Mia Yim, because she tested positive for COVID. Fightful learned that Toni Storm actually wasn't originally planned to be in the Rumble match, and she ended up serving as an alternate when Mia couldn't make it. Casey Catanzaro, who was also at the venue and was in a photo later on that showed up on social media, was another alternate WWE had already in case they needed to use her. So there you go. Everyone else supposedly was in the plans. It was the way it was supposed to be.
It was good. Yeah, really, really good match. Loved it. Damn, very pleased with that one.
I'm really looking forward to what Charlotte and Bianca will do, because I do think that we're not done seeing Charlotte and Bianca Belair.
Charlotte and Bianca?
Yeah. I mean what I said, and I said what I mean.
Do you think that's where they're going to take it?
I do. And we're going to get to that very shortly.
I told you this in the weekly draw, that there's money on the table. Sasha versus Bianca. And if they don't take it, they're foolish. But what do I know? I didn't make almost $1 billion in revenue. So
now you get it. And here's what it is. Here's what I'm thinking. Sasha and Bianca, yes, that's a play, and that's something that I think a lot of people want, and we've seen it. It's great. Like, we've seen that people want it.
Yeah.
Who's the bad guy in this match?
You don't need a bad guy all the time.
I love that. You're not wrong, but also
it's a sport.
Let me give you why for Charlotte. We'll see Charlotte and Lacey tie up. But we'll also see Lacey, probably Lacey, win the Raw Women's Championship along the way.
Yeah.
And then we'll see Charlotte and Lacey for the Raw Women's Championship. She'll win, and Bianca will face Charlotte for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka will be an evil, evil person, probably face off against Alexa Bliss in a singles match, in a cinematic, scripted, amazing singles match. Maybe, I don't know for sure. That's where my head is.
Aren't they having some fans? Isn't that a rumor?
Yeah, you can still put on a cinematic match. They've done it and it sucked, but they've done it.
Yeah, that's such a kick in the crotch.
They did it with Randy and Randy. It was Randy and Bray Wyatt. They did that House of Horrors match.
Oh, that's so crappy. All right.
Well, we don't know yet, and we're going to find out soon enough as to whom Bianca and Edge, for that matter, will dip into what he's up to, who they'll challenge at WrestleMania for their respective titles. And if you want to give us your respective title, you can go over to streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod and leave us some of that sweet, sweet tip jar money that we can use to go and buy those 100% 2020 approved title belts.
Yeah.
No, we usually just reinvest the money into like better equipment.
Definitely what's going to happen.
Just for you guys. All right, let's talk about Edge. Again, not a shocker, not fully shocking.
No.
But I'm glad that it's not going to be Edge and Randy in any form.
Yeah, which was a big surprise. Honestly, like I knew, again, we talked about Edge being on the table as a winner. The match itself, the pacing was kind of weird for me and it happened kind of quick. And like, biggest thing for me was that Carlito came back. Big excitement. Love that.
You were big into that.
I'm still big into that. And he looks great and they had him on Raw and I'm so happy. But yeah, like the more, in the moment I was like, okay, cool. Well, the last few people that are left, it better be Edge. And it was. And I'm happy that he took the RKO and he still dumped out Randy. Love that. And, the more you hear, the more it makes sense. And the story they told is fine. It's good. I'm glad that they have another person who went from like bell to bell, as he said, and the options are there. And if it's not going to be Edge and Randy at WrestleMania, now I'm actually very excited. Like that's what's kind of gotten me really behind him winning again.
Well, you mentioned bell to bell, and Edge was actually on After the Bell with Corey Graves this past week, and he basically laid out he could wrestle any champion, and he gave the reasons why. Do you want to hear why he could face Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, or Roman Reigns?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear what he had to say.
First of all, for Drew McIntyre, it's about the story. He took a similar road, and he said that Drew finding his way while Edge was champion and Edge was trying to help plays a big role in that story. He said that Drew left, he came back, he fought his way to the top, just like Edge did at one point in his career, and he respects the man that Drew became. So very similar talking about respect. It seems to be the Drew McIntyre story is that the legends don't actually, respect Drew McIntyre or vice versa, which is a real crock.
I'm less excited about that. I think there's a lot of like strong possibilities for Drew. I think if they keep the title on Drew up until WrestleMania, I mean, I'd even love to see him versus Sheamus at Mania. Like, I think that would be a very good match.
Well, let's move on. For Finn Balor, the case for the NXT champion. He says he's never laid hands on Finn Balor. Said he's never been in the same place or wrestled with him at the same time. He likes the way that Finn Balor wrestles, and he said he aspires to wrestle in a same variation. He combined Les Thatcher and All Japan Pro Wrestling, and there was a third in there. But he said that Finn is an amalgamation of all of those, and he wants to do that. He thinks that Finn is the template of a pro wrestler.
I think that match would be very, very good if that's who's holding the belt by WrestleMania.
Very good point. We'll talk about Cross and Edge a little later. By the way, another thing that Edge said in the ring this past week on NXT was that NXT was the reason he wanted to get back into the ring and wrestle. So that was a nice little added touch to his promo this past Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that was legit too. Like that wasn't just, a scripted bit like that.
He said it on his podcast. He said it a million times. They used to talk, Edge and Christian, ad nauseum about NXT. It was great.
It's the best product coming out of WWE. Full stop.
Hot take.
No. Sure.
No, it's true. I agree with you. And then for Roman, let's talk about it. He sees it as generational. Not that Edge and Roman are two wrestlers of different generations, but he sees that Roman is a second or a third generation wrestler who is finding himself. So that Reigns is allowed to be who he is and what he is. The handcuffs are off, and he knows what to do now because he grew up surrounded by the business. Edge has to think about it because he didn't grow up in the business. He still has those proverbial handcuffs on sometimes because he doesn't know what to do as quickly or as thoroughly as someone like Roman Reigns does. And so he draws the parallels between the two, that they both came through the crowd. This is character wise. They both came through the crowd. They both had 3-man groups. That's the Brood and the Shield. They both used the spear, and they both have similar heads, big heads. They both have big heads, Tim.
That's not bad. That's actually a good little build. I mean, yeah, and look, it works. Him coming off a feud with Randy too, that also kind of works, right? Because he's like,
Yes.
I'm beating these guys. Like,
of the three, that's the weakest one.
oh, yeah. I mean, he's got so many. Like, they're doing the right thing by building it up as like Edge's choice, like this. I'm looking at everyone, right? Like, you're all on my list. Like, I think that's actually a pretty good way to do this, and it draws this out a little bit more. Which, it's a long road to WrestleMania, as mentioned. So,
I was gonna say, stretch it out.
yeah.
Just let it go. Just vamp on it. Let it last for a few months. You've also got, Drew and Sheamus are going to be a thing soon. So who knows what that's going to be? You've got, Roman and whoever his next opponent's going to be. Once that hits the road, we're going to have to figure out, what that means for Edge versus that person. And it could be Finn versus Pete Dunne after Vengeance Day.
Yep.
I had to change my brain of thought over the names. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. Meanwhile, Christian returned to the ring. That was unexpected at the Rumble. I did
God, yeah.
not see that coming. Not at all.
He was on that please for the love of God don't ever wrestle again list. Like
The do not touch list.
I was so scared. Like every second he was in there, I was like, "You're gonna die. You're gonna die." Like, it's good.
So he had been training in secret apparently and got cleared just before, obviously just before he came back. Edge said he knew about it. That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, they are best friends, I should hope so. But he's going to be part-time according to PW Insider, and other people have confirmed it since then. So you know what? I'm fine with it. I want to see Christian come back and get that last run, maybe that one last match. Maybe that's the play for WrestleMania. Maybe the play is it's not going to be Drew as the champion. It's going to be Randy as champion, and Christian gets the title shot.
Ooh, be pretty cool.
I don't know if that's going to be the thing, but actually at the same time, Randy is one of the more safe wrestlers to work with.
Yeah, hence Edge's insistence on sticking with him for so long.
And I've seen other people like John Ross Sapp and everyone who's come forward since then say that, Christian's owed an Intercontinental Championship shot from 2014 when Big E coincidentally was also the champion. So now the joke has become that Big E's been ducking Christian for the last 7 years.
I think that's funny.
Would it happen? Who knows? But would it be fun to watch and maybe see play out? Of course. And you can put those two in a really entertaining little program there, if you will.
I'm happy to see Christian back. I don't know that he needs a title in the mix. I think just seeing him wrestle would be enough. I think there's room for title shots with like other talent.
Tell you someone else I want to see wrestle. Bad Bunny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He's a fan. He's good. He's entertaining. I enjoyed his performance at the Rumble. I admittedly didn't know a lot about Bad Bunny going into it, and you and I are in music, so for us to not know, I guess that was
so there's
we're in
like,
different.
There's like
different
one
worlds of music.
genre. There's like a single genre that I really don't listen to, and it's reggaeton. I had no idea who he was. I had briefly seen the video because the algorithms had suggested it because Booker T stands in it. And then a friend showed me him doing the Triple H thing at a basketball game. But like, he's good. Like it's fine. I just not a big soca beat guy. But like, damn, he's been fun on the shows. He was fun on Royal Rumble. Like,
He was, and that was what I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
There have been other guys and girls who have shown up and just kind of been at the show, and then if they're given lines, they kind of deliver them dry, and they're just like, how did I do? Did I do good? And this guy, Bad Bunny, he did it. Like he he made it fun. You know, he did Miz TV, and Miz and Morrison obviously carried it, and that's saying a lot for us because we normally don't go that far with Miz and Morrison. But they carried it, and they did a good job with it too. It was fun.
Look, it was so much better as a celebrity. Like most of the time, the celebrity cameos are crap. God, it was much better seeing him than it was watching Snoop Dogg do his thing. So, I'm
glad. All right, so who hit the better top rope dive?
Bad Bunny, 100%.
Thank you. And by the way, Stephanie McMahon said in the earnings call earlier today that we have never seen a Bugatti on Raw before this past Monday. And I sat there and I kind of cringed. But it looks like he might be, Bad Bunny, by the way, in talks to do WrestleMania, possibly with Damian Priest as a tag team partner to take on The Miz and Morrison. That's a pretty exciting thing right now.
It's already better than Rob Gronkowski. So.
Yeah, low bar, I think.
Yeah, no,
but you know what? At the end of the day, when you talk about numbers and outreach and things like that, he's a star. Bad Bunny is. He has the reach. He has the appeal. WWE needs that younger demographic to start tuning in and paying attention again. And at the same time, fans get in the way of themselves. Yeah. But just remember that social media is not the be all end all of fandom. There are people who log off at the end of the day and just don't worry about it and just watch the shows. Like some of us should. But you don't want to log off when you go to streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod. Or when you watch us on PW Unlimited on Sundays, usually around 4 o'clock. Or when Rob Gronkowski shows up.
Is Rob Gronkowski showing up? I feel like he's occupied this Sunday.
No, it just came up in the chat. just came up in the chat. And I'm just going to, no more Gronk, please. Go do your Super Bowl shenanigans. We're already talking about Raw at this point. I mean, we talked about Drew and Sheamus, and Edge came out, and we just went through all that. But you saw Sheamus and his turn. Did you see it coming? Is my question to you.
Yeah, of course I did. That's fine.
Normally, when you got a tight shot of someone, like a tight camera shot of someone, and then they pull back and there's someone right behind them, we know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I saw it coming a few different ways, but yeah, it's good. I mean, I like Sheamus in the ring so much that like I feel like they'd be a good pairing. They'll have chemistry having been around each other for so long, and like Sheamus is just such a great heel. Like, keep him as heel. It's great. It's a good pairing.
I want to see what Drew Gulak is going to do as Sheamus's bagman.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
Nobody knows. But now the big question, other than
give me my backs, like okay.
It's like, yes, sir, Mr. Sheamus.
Mr. Sheamus, sir.
Do we do it at the Chamber or do they do it at Fastlane in March? What do you think? Drew versus Sheamus.
Yeah, like I don't see it actually making it to Mania, so like let's do it quick then if it's not going to be the big program. So we'll do it at the Chamber. I have to do it in a chamber. I don't know the rules.
No, there's no rules. The chamber is usually reserved for whatever needs to be. There'll be a men's chamber and a women's chamber. So who knows what that'll mean.
Okay. Yeah, I see Roman ending up being in the chamber match. That's what I see. So
who hates Roman that much?
I don't know. Probably a lot of people at this point. Pissed off a few.
Fair.
It would be easier to get there if Jay was around, but
yeah. So if they did, what was it? Roman, Shinsuke, Bryan. You gotta get 6 people in there.
Jay's gonna be in there. Kevin.
Jay's not cleared though.
When's Jay back? What's wrong with him? What has happened to Jay?
Nobody knows. That's the thing. They just keep saying he's going through an injury. Let's say the Chamber is about 3 weeks from now. So let's say Jay's in it. We need 2 more people.
Yeah, Kevin Owens. Again, throw him in there.
Again? Oh, I don't know if I want to go back to Kevin Owens.
I don't want it to happen. I'm saying that's probably what they'll do. Then we need a new. Yeah. I don't know. Cesaro. He's doing his thing.
Actually, you're probably right. It would be Cesaro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there you go in the chat. They pipe up Cesaro. Speaking of coming back, let's talk about everyone's favorite, our favorite, because we stand Lana on the show, don't we?
We do stand Lana on this show. She did a tremendous job. Looked great doing it. Her and Naomi going straight to the. Well, I guess they're gonna have to try again, but
straight to the top of the tag division, which they will now have a women's tag team title shot.
They've only
coming
got
up.
to win once. That's as many wins as you need to be at the top of the tag division.
I'll take it. Small victories.
Yeah.
Naomi as her new tag team partner was an interesting add to the Lana story. I think a lot of people are too busy trying to shit on Lana to realize what the story is. And that is that while Lana is not the most capable wrestler, she's tagging with wrestlers who are more capable and giving they're giving their life lessons. They're giving her ways to improve in the ring.
Yeah.
So when she tagged with Natalya, it was all about technical wrestling and getting better as a technical wrestler. When she tagged with Asuka, it was all about regaining your confidence and becoming a more confident wrestler who doesn't take things too seriously. And then with Naomi, it's all about being an innovative dancer and wrestler. Because they were both dancers.
She did a phenomenal slide entrance. The two of them, it was very cool.
Yes.
Their entrance was solid. It's cool.
I
don't know that they're going to do a long-term Naomi program, but like it's.
No, I just want them to win the tag titles. Really, we got to get to the point where we see Lana and Nia squash their beef, and that's it. But and I see someone in the chat talking about how they took her out of the tag title match and it let all the air out. But that's the thing. Did it really let all the air out? Because she came back at the Rumble and people were really excited to see her eliminate Nia Jax, and that just rekindles a feud just like that.
Yeah,
it's as easy as that. Now Nia just has to take her out again in whatever case that is. It kind of prolonged the story more than it did take the air out of the tires.
Yeah, and like it's got to build to, I assume, Mania now at this point, because there's still quite a bit of ways I think they got to go for Nia and Lana to really feel strong. But it put her through the table like 12 more times.
12 more times.
Do it. Have the gumption to do it. Do it. I dare you. No. Do it, WWE. No. Put Lana through a table 12 times. 12 weeks in a row. Let's bring it to Mania. Then she overcomes the bully.
Yes. And wins the Raw Women's Championship.
No titles. No titles.
No title. Okay, fine. I'm all for titles not being on the line when it comes to just settling big problems in the ring.
I think they need to do that more with the women's division. It feels pointed at this point that like every single women's match is about a title.
Yeah, that's been a major WWE writing problem for years. Is that they couldn't write for the women beyond the title.
It's not hard. Write the same thing.
Well, that's because for years Vince and the writers were told, "Oh, all women hate each other." So I can't do the Vince I can't do Vince at 60, but I can do Vince at like 75. All women hate each other.
Oh,
you need them to go against each other.
I don't know. Put two women in a room. I guess they'll find it out.
They'll never get along. I can't do it. But yes, meanwhile, I am on the Asuka needs to turn bandwagon now.
Yeah. That's gonna happen too. I mean, she's so good as a heel. Like, I think it just makes a lot of sense.
I want to see Asuka.
If she's just like a in it for herself menace, it just feels a lot more strong, because like she's not gonna be cutting these amazing promos, and like goofy dancing Asuka doesn't do it for me. So like I'd rather her just be like a vicious competitor.
I don't want to talk about Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton anymore. I don't want to right now.
Just walk on by like Randy did.
Exactly. Let's just walk past it as if it didn't happen, and as if you can leave us some tip jar love over streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod instead. Okay. And also you can like the video and subscribe to us at youtube.com/TimandJoelPod. Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding. We went through Impact. We'll do it real quick. I know we're running on time, aren't we?
Yeah.
This might be like our longest episode ever at this point. Well, the Impact watch along over on Fightful Twitch, which is twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. We had our watch along, myself, Jeremy Lambert, Steven Jensen. Another very fun evening where we watched Sami Callihan get overused.
Why do they like him so much? NXT didn't, right?
He's got to be like somewhere.
I don't like him. I just don't. I find him annoying as hell. Like,
in the right storyline, Sami is great, but they haven't found it since he lost that title. And the Ken Shamrock stuff was great until they suspended him the first time, and then they just did it again.
Ken doesn't want to be there, so just let him not be there and don't take a chance again.
He came to work one day and was just like, "Are those AEW guys here yet? No. So we can't get those paydays? No. Yeah, I'm going home. I'll see you guys in 30
Call
days.
me in 3 months.
Call me at the next pay-per-view. Jordan Grace defeated Susan. That was great. I really enjoyed that match. And ODB made her return to Impact. So I'm looking forward to Jordan Grace and Jazz and ODB taking on Susan, Deonna Purrazzo, and Kimber Lee down the line. I think we're going to get that at No Surrender. That will be excellent.
Yep.
What do you think about Brian Myers, the Pirate?
I'm not big on Brian anyway, and like I think Matt referenced his podcast during the show, which kind of weirded me out. He's like, this guy knows a lot about collectibles, and I was like, my immersion. Like you can't be a big jackass. Well, I mean you can be, but like I don't know. It's weird thinking of this guy who's like the most professional wrestler, but also big into toys. Like
he's the most professional pirate.
Yeah, his eye hurts, I guess.
That's right. Well, now Brian the Pirate Myers and Hernandez are going to team up against Matt Cardona and Eddie Edwards at No Surrender in a couple of weeks. I have zero interest in this match, mostly because Eddie Edwards just doesn't do it for me.
No, it doesn't either for me. He's basically even less charactered Sami Callihan to me.
Let me tell you what does do it for me, though. Impact announced today that they're going to do a triple threat revolver match. Okay, so let me read out to you. Okay, fine. You know what? Get your question out before we talk about the participants.
That's a weird name.
Yeah.
But I have an idea, and it's probably not what they would do. But AEW has shot someone before, so hear me out.
Impact shot someone too.
Impact, not AEW. My God, I can't talk. Put a revolver in the ring. 6 bullets in the gun. Do with them what you will. Whoever gets to it first gets to it. Whoever's left standing once the gun's empty, then you got to wrestle it out. And whoever wins that match is the winner. Huh?
So that's murder.
Yeah, well, they've done it a few times. Quite a few times, actually, at this point.
That man Tim wants a Russian roulette battle royal.
Just saying. The next time a few contracts are coming due, this is what you do.
And that's how Taya Valkyrie went to jail. So in the triple threat revolver match, we have Daivari Suicide. Sorry, that's 2 different people. Daivari Suicide, Willie Mack, Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, thank God for that, Chris Bay, Josh Alexander, thank God for that, and Blake Christian. Now, I am excited for all of these men in this match. The winner gets a shot at the X Division Championship. The way that the triple threat revolver match works is simple. It is a triple threat match every single time someone gets pinned, a new person enters. And then when there are only 3 people left in the match, it's just a regular triple threat match. So let's say it's Josh Alexander, Chris Bay, and Trey Miguel in the ring at one time. Ace Austin pins Trey Miguel. Now Suicide comes in to replace Trey Miguel. Now it's Ace Austin, Suicide, and Chris Bay. Now Chris Bay gets pinned. Josh Alexander comes in, and then it's Suicide and Trey Miguel and Josh Alexander. Basically, it all keeps going until you get to your final 3, and then it's a triple threat match. That person wins. That's it.
Yeah, it's a good match. I like that idea, actually.
It's different, and it's not overbooked. It's just a great way to get 8 guys in the ring competing in a different style of match that's actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah, into it. Cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I will credit Robert DeFelice for this because last week in the chat when we talked about who Rohit Raju was talking to, he said Mahabali Shera, and he was right.
Bang on. Yeah.
The OVW partnership remains intact. That's right. Shera has been involved in OVW since the end of January, and now he's back with Impact. There we go. And if you want to leave an impact with us, you can go over to streamlabs.com/DamageAllPod. Yes, that one worked.
Oh my God. Okay. What else?
Or you can go to PW Unlimited every Sunday. Check us out. We do the weekly draw series. We talk about the week in wrestling, or we preview the pay-per-view going on that week. Good stuff. AEW was good stuff.
Yeah. It was a pretty solid show. Like a few very good matches. Some stuff that I'm just glad that we've kind of crossed the threshold on. That main event.
Speaking of crossing the threshold, do you think that Kip and Penelope had a nice wedding?
Nice. No, the decor wasn't great. I would have changed some things.
There was a shoot wedding.
Yeah, that I knew. I knew that.
Yeah, very cute.
different strokes, man.
Well, speaking of different strokes, no, sorry. Okay, we're not going there. Father James Mitchell, who last officiated a wedding that ended in gunshots, he officiated the wedding.
Love that.
Miro was Miro. What did you think of Miro?
Man, disappointed in Miro. Still disappointed in Miro. I feel like, again, I'm gonna say it, like some of the guys in AEW are some of the finest promo delivering some bitches around. But then you watch some guys really struggle, and like, I don't know if it's a pride thing, I don't know if it's a writing thing, but like they could use some help. Having the crowd, that kind of derailed some stuff, and it didn't really work for me. It felt like the segment went on for quite a while, and I think some stuff did because there were some odd production choices throughout the show, and I think it was to try to catch up time. Yeah, meh.
I agree with you. The wedding wasn't great. Miro was fine. Miro decked out in the same outfit he wore at his last wedding appearance in WWE, or at least when he was getting married. They got rid of all the traditional wedding like beats of a story that they're trying to tell. It was like Miro's been here before. That was cute enough, but yeah, I didn't love it. I think everyone expected a little bit more, and I was shocked because that went head to head with Edge on NXT. So just to see where that, the discrepancy in like viewership is enough for me to be like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
It was what it was. I didn't love it, but
No, it was
you want
fun.
to get
It's
about
good
the
to
main
see.
event.
Good to see Orange Cassidy, but yeah, that main event was solid. Like Ray and Pac just like tremendous through the whole thing. Like that was such a good showing on their part, on everyone's part, but like them especially, they really shined.
A lot better outing from the Good Brothers than I expected.
Yeah, right. Like it just everything came together, and it's one of those things that I feel like I've been seeing so much of it on AEW, like main events like structured like that, where there's a bunch of dudes in the ring lately, that I kind of didn't expect much, and it blew me away. So I was really, really pleased with that. And then Kenta came out, and like I said, I don't know, I don't really know who he is, and then he missed that go to sleep. So, but like cool.
You didn't watch NXT in like 2015 or 16?
No, I didn't. No, I was like completely off.
He was in NXT for a couple of years. He was Hideo Itami.
Okay, so he's
in case that name ever pops up at you.
Big
but
shit.
he's much better where he is now. Trust me. When he left WWE, he showed up in New Japan, and at their biggest event of the year, Wrestle Kingdom, he showed up at the end of the night, and like the end of the show shot was him with his legs crossed, sitting on top of the winner of the IWGP championships. Like that was the shot.
Yeah, it's strong.
Yeah. So Kenta is strong. Kenta is very, very well put together in the Japanese market right now. Not as strong are the Inner Circle right now.
Yeah.
What do you think of that Elimination Battle Royal?
The Battle Royal was whatever. I mean, it was fine. You don't love to see Jericho win anymore.
Nope.
Good to see that, like, they're moving that storyline along kind of quickly, like, which is good because, like, again, I think that I love MJF so much. I don't want to see him get bogged down by this too much. Same with Sammy. Like, they're both so good in the ring that I think there's a lot of potential for them. And the quicker they can kind of move away from Jericho, the happier I'll be. So, because he's slowing them down. He's slowing down their pace of work so much.
See, so I was on, Steven Jensen and I broke into Jesse Davin's YouTube channel yesterday, and we gave our predictions for NXT and for AEW. And when we talked about the this tag team elimination battle royal, I said it was going to be Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager winning this match to further the dissension between Sammy and MJF. And then when I saw the way it played out, I was like, I really don't want Jericho to win this. And then he won it. I was like, I really don't want to see Jericho and MJF versus the Young Bucks. It doesn't do anything for me. Two of the three of the tag matches that were supposed to be at Revolution are now like unappealing to me. Now it's really 1/3 because they moved the Shaq match. We'll get to that in a minute. But the point I was trying to make is like later on in the show, when they had Jericho and MJF show up into the Inner Circle locker room and be like, oh, it's all about us. When we win, everyone wins. Even though you didn't win, we still won. And it was like, can we just get there? Just get to the point where you you turn on Jericho, you kick him out of the inner circle, Jericho becomes a face, and the internet wrestling community, who apparently don't matter anyway, but they do in this case because it's AEW and it's mostly us who talk about cross-pollination. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. When Jericho gets kicked out and they play him as a face, I'm not going to care.
Yeah. Like, I just, I want him to be a singles competitor so that it's not so ever present.
I'm just ready for him to move on.
Yeah, like it's disappointing, but it's not working. So
what was not disappointing was 8:30 p.m. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker.
Mm-hmm. Very good match.
Not only was the timing right, but the match was excellent. Very happy with that. How did you feel?
Strong. Like, I loved it. The whole thing was excellent. It's another, like, there were 3 very, very good matches I found this week, and like this was definitely one of them. The finish made a lot of sense to me. They kept Thunder Rosa strong by knocking her the F out on a turnbuckle stage, and she sold that so well. Like, I thought that was like the perfect finish, the right move, because they're not going to elevate someone who's not their person, right? So it was really good, and Britt's come a long way. Like, she's very, very good in ring now. So
they announced the brackets for the women's tournament, where it's going to be half USA and then half Japan, and then the winner from Japan will face the winner from USA. Whatever it's going to be, the timing is cool. But they announced all of the Japanese women involved in this whole thing. And if you go on social media afterwards, all the women who were involved in this are just like, "Hi, I'm so and so. I wrestle for these companies. I'm really excited to perform for AEW. I'll see you soon." And everyone's like super nice and super sweet. And then they get to Maki Ito. I'm sure you saw this. Maki's, we can't beep ourselves because we're live, but basically her tweet is just like, "Hello, mother." Awesome. "Hello, mother effers," and I'm like, this woman is great.
All right, her to win.
I realize I just peaked hard on that.
Yeah.
I do think, though, I want to see Aja Kong take on Thunder Rosa in the finals. It's not going to happen, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along. I want to say the Lumberjack match was great, well told story. Lance Archer gets his win back. Cool. Okay.
Makes sense.
Oh, and Shaq's new finish is basically the Judas Effect mixed with Eddie Kingston's finisher.
Yeah, but somehow even slower.
Black Thunder, as he calls it. That match got moved to March 3rd on Dynamite because the NBA All-Star Game is March 7th, which is the new night for AEW Revolution. So the tag match between Cody and Red Velvet and Shaq and Jade Cargill, who looked like $1 million, always does. That match is going to be on March 3rd on Dynamite. Looking forward to that. Should be good.
Looking forward to seeing Jade Cargill. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes.
See if she can wrestle.
Yes.
Hopefully she can.
NXT. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's get back into it. So TakeOver Vengeance Day. I get it. Do you know why we're not going to call it St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
No, I don't know. Was that
because the Parkland shooting in Florida?
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Maybe.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Because it was in Florida and it was on Valentine's Day. They couldn't do it. They do a lot of work in the communities, so I get it.
Awful. Don't ever call anything that again. Like.
Yeah. So that's not happening. So it's Vengeance Day,
just call it Vengeance anyway.
It should have been. I think they were like, "Oh, it's V Day. Valentine's Day, but it's Vengeance Day." It's just whatever.
Just call it Vengeance. You had a pay-per-view called Vengeance.
They did, and actually, they're using the original design because the V. Like, it's the same thing.
What are you doing? Okay.
Women's Dusty Cup dates. That's the Dusty Cup with updates. Cup dates. It's kind of like cupcakes.
It's not going to
work. Which, by the way, yes. So it is actually it's my wife's birthday today. So if you're in the chat, wish her a happy birthday. If you're on Twitter, wish her a happy birthday through me at Joel Pearl. Okay, she is a wonderful, wonderful human being. I love her dearly. It is her birthday, and we have cupcakes. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez advance in the tournament, and my bracket is ruined.
Yeah, you're way wrong. I was way wrong because I thought you were pretty spot on, but they didn't use it. We said this was an opportunity to elevate one of the actual tag teams, and they didn't take it. No surprise.
I said it yesterday on that preview that I was a part of. Man, so upset about that. Casey is still going to use that finisher, huh?
She committed to that was a botch. There was no way that was as designed. Like, Oh man, and she nearly murdered Raquel. Well, I don't know because she weighs nothing, but like she nearly sat full on Raquel's head. Like, it's a cool finisher, and I'm fine with her using her butt for it, but like, you gotta land torso. Like, and she did not. That was it looked cool, but that was a scary moment.
Yeah, the flying whatchamacallit.
Yeah, I guess you could do like a leg drop on the head, but like, that
It's a
doesn't
leg
look as
drop.
cool. And you weigh nothing. Land ass first on someone's torso. They can take a bump from you. But anyway.
Yeah, and that's a tough move to get right, and she's gonna have to work on that. Kind of like Pac with his red arrow. You've got to land it properly, or else there's risk of damage on both ends, and you don't want that.
Everyone's gonna get hurt. Yeah, but
exactly.
It's cool.
Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon are going to take on the Ways, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell. That's next week in semifinals action. The winners will go on to face Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez at TakeOver Vengeance Day. Okay. Men's cup dates, shall we?
Stop.
No? What?
Stop trying to make cup dates work. It ain't going to work.
Who likes cup dates?
Oh my God.
It's a cup date for you.
It sounds like a date-filled cupcake, which is something nobody wants. Anyway.
I don't know. I feel like our vegan friends might enjoy it.
Dried prune. Oh, wait. No. Prune's a plum. Dried plum. I don't know. Go ahead.
Anyway, Lucha House Party lost their match to Legado del Fantasma. Legado del Fantasma will face MSK next week. My bracket wasn't too badly hurt from that. However, in the main event, in an excellent match, I did not expect it to happen, but they did it again. The Undisputed Era lost their match against Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher.
Very good. I'm happy with that, too. Happy with that result.
Damn it.
Yep.
My bracket is not full ass busted because I still have MSK and GYV as the finals.
Definitely.
Yes. So Thatcher and Ciampa taking on the grizzled young veterans next week is fine. And then Phantasma versus MSK next week will also be an excellent match. The winners will face off in the finals at TakeOver Vengeance Day. But that main event match was fantastic. If you're going to watch one thing from NXT this week, watch that main event match because they put on a clinic of a tag match.
This is very, very good. So exciting.
Meanwhile, Austin Theory exists.
Yep.
Dexter Lumis rips out people's hair.
That was cool. He rubbed it on his face a little too. It was very spooky. I enjoyed it.
Did the actual... I never watched Dexter. Did you watch Dexter?
No, I didn't watch Dexter. I heard it ends disastrously, so I'm not going to get invested.
I wonder if the actual Dexter ever like took someone's hair and like, oh yeah, that's good smelling hair.
So. I think he. Yeah, I don't know.
Santos Escobar taking on Kurt Stallion was an excellent match. I was actually a little shocked that Kurt Stallion didn't win the Cruiserweight Championship because I'm thinking that they want to move Santos Escobar out of the Cruiserweight ranks and into what is the main NXT Championship ranks. And having Karrion Kross show up while Escobar is still Cruiserweight Champion, that's a look. I get it. They're going to try and make maybe the NXT Championship look more important if Santos puts out a big fight against Kross and doesn't just get the shit kicked out of him at TakeOver. So we'll see.
Yeah, like I think it's a cool build. I get them not putting it on Kurt just yet because they're just developing his actual character. And this week they evolved it a little bit more, so it feels less hangman-y. It's more like I'm a Texan, but like he's got something to him that feels a little bit more like real for it. So like I'm glad that didn't just become like a hangman knockoff. So it's good to see. He's now, his profile's been raised, which means that, you know, he got his title shot, which it's something. But they kept Santos Escobar looking like very strong, which I think they need to do because I think having him as a dominant cruiserweight champion for a while still makes sense, even if he does end up losing to Karrion.
We'll see what happens when we get to Kross and Escobar. And also, you think down the line we might see Edge and Karrion Kross?
Maybe. And that's an interesting... That might be a good match. I don't know. I still need to see more from Kross because, like, what I've seen has been... So I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with you. And... man, when they went face-to-face, when Kross and Escobar went face-to-face, I put it out there on Twitter that Escobar was the star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He looked so much better, so much more intimidating than Kross, who was just like, TikTok. And Escobar just had this look on his face like, come at me. Please come at me.
Like he's got such an emotive face, and like he's shown it. Like he does so well in ring, and they let him keep going over guys too, which, you know, doesn't hurt. Whereas Cross, like I said, your character is weird unless you're straight up killing people. Like it is very challenging, and like the expectations set with his entrance make it so difficult to pull it off in the ring. Like it's the same problem that happens with the Fiend. Like it can work, but it is a delicate line. Like
we are way over time.
So overtime.
So overtime. I will put it like this. We left in our notes included Io Shirai it's now a triple threat. Io, Tony, and Mercedes. It's going to be a great match. I know we have a week to talk about it. We'll do it next week. I know we will. And also, I invite people to take a look at the Tian-Sha story that they released on WWE socials, and also they aired it on NXT, talking about the backstory of Xia Li's kind of a new watcher, keeper, whoever it is, Karen Q, Tian-Sha. So take a look. I think it's going to be a really, really fun story that they're going to tell. Speaking of fun stories, SmackDown, there ain't nothing to talk about because the only things announced are Bianca Belair and Edge showing up.
We didn't even talk about like the Rumble. We talked about the 2 Rumble matches, but the Rumble was very good, and that's all I can say. And that last man standing match was very good. Very happy. Kevin.
Yes, it was.
So
can you unlock handcuffs? Well, can you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
Oh, good, because maybe you should call Paul Heyman and
I mean,
give him some pointers.
Yeah, he needed some help. Roman probably should have figured out how to get that foot up a little sooner too.
Oh dear. And if you want to get up a little faster on us, you can like this video and you can subscribe to us at youtube.com/TimandJoelPod. All right. I think we're done here. What do you think?
That's good. Yeah, we're good.
Let's get out of this place. Let's get out of this burning building that we call our show. Tim, where can the kids find you?
Kids can find me at TimStoneP, TimbStonep on Twitter.
Y'all find us everywhere at Tim and Joel Pod, youtube.com/TimandJoelPod or timandjoelpod.com. For those who are listening on audio, TIMANDJOELPOD.com, or the YouTube variant, or the Instagram variant, or the Facebook variant, or whatever you want. As for me, you can find me on all forms of social media at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. You can find me on twitch.tv/FightfulGaming from time to time. You'll find us on PW Unlimited every single weekend, talking about the week in wrestling, talking about the things coming up. And you can like the video, you can subscribe to us, because that's what we do. And finally, the other way you can get a little bit more out of us is to tell your friends, and to tell their parents, and to tell their dogs, and their owners, and their cousins, and their brothers, and their mothers, and their fathers, and their sisters, and their brothers to come and check us out and watch us or listen to us every week wherever you are, because you know what? We want to talk about wrestling with you, so we'll do that. All right? Okay. Love you guys. Until then, enjoy your wrestling. We'll see you next week.